Well, I think we can all say that Don and Gilda are probably dead as fuck. I mean, as we know, Don stole the key from Isabel, and we know the door is open and it requires a key to open. And since Isabel's not someone that is stupid, because she's been watching over the kids for so long, she has a lot of intelligence, we can only assume that they've already been caught. Even if they magically found a hidey hole, okay? They managed to hide or something. Isabel already knows that someone has entered into her room, the secret room, because the door was open. She didn't have her fucking key, and she knows she's probably not stupid enough to think like, oh, I left it unlocked and I misplaced the key. No, I don't think she is like that. So Don and Gilda have pretty much been caught. All, Isabel has to do, look at her watch, see the trackers, there you go, GG right then and there. So, Don and Gilda, probably going to die. Now, there is a likely possibility that they might not, though, because of something that was revealed with this chapter, which I will get into. So, the room that we got to see for the first time. We got a really good glimpse at the room and all that. We saw it in the past with a couple chapters back, but for the first time we actually get to see the room for what it is. Like, from the perspectives from the children, but also to see the entirety of it. And in the room, there's a surprising amount of different belongings to previous children that have left this farm. And if you look at it and you don't really take time to think about it, it just looks like it's something normal, just hiding these belongings away from the children. And that's just the main point, because, the people that are being shipped off, they have no need for belongings because they're dead as fuck. So there was no need for them to take their belongings. And so you would assume that Isabel would probably take these belongings away from them and probably get rid of them. But what's weird is that Isabel doesn't get rid of these. And that is the strange part about all of this, because when you really take a moment to think about this, what type of reason would be to keep all of these different, belongings of children that are already long dead? What would be the reason? What would be the true motive here? I mean, after countless years and all that, all these children that have died, why would Isabel have all of them in her possession when she probably has had a lot of time to be able to get rid of them? My only assumption is that she has an attachment to these children. And I feel like she probably holds on to these belongings to remind herself of what type of job she has, but also to remind herself of all the children she's had to sacrifice, probably to save her own ass. I feel like that's what's going on here, and maybe there's a bigger in-game goal that Isabel's been trying to do for a very long time. For all we know, it might be a possibility that William, this person that has a coded message inside the books, it could turn out to be, Isabel, or someone related to her in some way, because, there's just no reason for her to be keeping these stuffed animals and belongings of children that are long been dead for a long time now. There's just no reason for her to keep that type of stuff. We know she has a lot of access to the outside world. She can get a bunch of different things and bring it in, so she definitely has enough time to get rid of stuff like this without the children knowing. So the only way you could assume is that she's keeping it because she feels bad, or there's something else going on. She has an attachment to these children, and that means that Isabel might not turn out to be completely bad. For instance, she's done a lot of evil and crooked shit, yes, but it might be a bigger reason for it. Maybe she's doing this to be able to look at the bigger end game. She wants to save everybody, save a lot more. She's sacrificing the few to save the many. And that's kind of what I feel like is going on here. And so, with Don and Gilda, there's two possible outcomes here. Actually, there's three. Number one, Don and Gilda get caught, Isabel gets pissed off, ships them off, or they get killed, one or the other. They're just gonna get shipped off. Number two, Isabel, she's actually kind-hearted. She actually is kind of happy they figured this all out, and so she's gonna start working with Don and Gilda, and then, there's probably gonna be some form of escape plan. Maybe it'll set, Isabel into motion to do whatever she's been trying to plan for a long time, or she just has this attachment to Don and Gilda to where, she just doesn't know what to do, or she doesn't say anything at all. Now, number three, the third possible option is that there's somehow a way these two can hide, make it away from the trackers that Isabel has, and they can manage to get out of there. But even then, Isabel knows someone got into her fucking room because her key is gone. So, they're already been caught. It's already GG for that. So, those are the three options that most likely could happen right then and there. Now, let's talk about the books, okay, this coded message. So, the coded message pretty much talks about the farm, to, it's a lie, to, just monsters, be careful, stuff like that. That's kind of what the coded messages were on the different books. It was in Morse code. But two of the books actually stand out amongst all the other books. And these books apparently were sent in around 2015 or whatever. Like, they're from the year 2015. They might have gotten stamped or whatever after, but these books are very freaking old. They're from 2015, and in this chapter, we actually got a date. We got the date that is actually 2043. There is a panel in this chapter when Dawn and Gilda are in that secret room. You see a calendar, and you see a bunch of things, probably shipping orders and stuff for the children. You see a date in the, the corner of it. It says 2043. So, even if these books are from 2015, or they were just that old, but then a stamp put on it, we know they're very old books, and also what year we're in right now. And so, it's been a long span of time. So if those stamps were put on in 2015, probably if it was a person called William, they're probably long dead by now or very old at this time. Because, you got to figure out, do a publish of a book, depending on your age and stuff, most likely you're going to be around 20-something, maybe 30-something, depending on, how he did all of this to be able to send in books. So probably 20 or 30 years old, I would say, estimate. At the youngest, maybe around 16 years old. You add in another, 30 to 40 years on top of that. He's probably going to be old, and judging by how the outside world most likely is, because demons might be rampaging around the world killing people, so most likely the person is dead as fuck if, it was stamped in 2015. Now, one of the things we need to look at is that this person called William, it might not be William. This name could be a message entirely as well. For instance, the entirety of the name could be a message, and maybe it could be Isabel actually sending this message, put all this stuff in the books. Who knows? Maybe that's a potential possibility. We don't even know who this person looks like. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know if this is some form of demon or something, or if this is a human. We have no idea who this person is, but there is a message he's trying to send. And with these two books that seem very different from the others, one of them has ripped pages, and the other one they kind of got a weird message. It's called Promise. We can kind of assume that is a title drop. Think about the title of the series. The Promised Neverland. And with the description of one of the books that had its pages tore out and we have no message for it, it was said that the book was apparently about some mythological place or whatever. And if I had to assume anything, let's think about mythological stories, like books and stuff, okay? Let's just think of fantasy, fairy tales and stuff. Peter Pan. Peter Pan's a perfect example. When you think of Neverland, you think of Peter Pan. That's what I thought of when I think of Neverland. Seriously, that's the first thing that pops in my mind. When I think of Neverland, I think of Peter Pan. And you gotta realize, Neverland was for children. So, look at the title, The Promised Neverland. Obviously, title drop. It's an obvious title drop that the message of the other book is probably Neverland, and I'm kind of curious exactly what that means. Is there a hidden meaning behind the title of the series, The Promised Neverland? Is it trying to say that it's going to be a happy place, or is it like a land that's just never going to happen once they escape the walls? I'm very curious about that, because the coded message can go in many different ways, and probably has a whole lot more meaning than we probably are even aware of. So at this time, though, The Promised Neverland does a very good job with this chapter, sets up a little bit of, some tension towards the end, but as we know, definitely Isabel knows that Dawn and Gilda are there, and there's 3 possible outcomes that could, might happen. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.